I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we are reading from the book of Isaiah, chapter 7. Let's focus on verses 14 through 16. Therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and she will name him Emmanuel. And he will eat curds and honey at the time he knows enough to refuse evil and to choose good. For before the boy knows enough to refuse evil and choose good, the land whose two kings you dread will be abandoned. Now Ahaz, the king of Judah, was in a desperate situation. The apostate northern kingdom of Israel had partnered with their pagan neighbors, Syria. Furthermore, the two were advancing toward Jerusalem, intent on seizing it. Now, while Ahaz was searching for a military or a political solution, God sent him the spiritual solution in the person of Isaiah. God was willing to deliver Judah by his grace, but only if Ahaz would believe God's message through his messenger by faith. So by grace I will deliver you if you by faith will believe the message and put that belief into action. That is the basis for Paul's exhortation to the church in Ephesus, Ephesians 2, verses 8 and 9. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not of works, lest anyone should boast. So Ahaz made a choice, had a choice to make, and there would be harsh consequences if he chose wrongly. Isaiah 7, verse 9, if you will not believe, surely you shall not be established. Now, as a sign that Isaiah's prophecy was from God, the Lord promised to give confirming markers of progress along the path to Judah's deliverance. Since Judah's greatest enemy was not Israel or Assyria, rather it was their own sinfulness, the Lord began with a prediction of the distant future, a virgin birth. Then the prophet worked his way toward Judah's more immediate threat, which was Israel and Syria. Focusing for a moment on Judah's and the world's ultimate need for personal salvation and victory over sin, God gives as a sign the miracle of the Messiah's virgin birth. Now, the title Emmanuel, which we think of when we think of Jesus because it's a biblical title, it translates God with us. And yet it doesn't merely mean that God is on our side, so he sent us a leader. No, Emmanuel in the messianic sense speaks of the deity of the Messiah. Consider the prophet Micah's announcement concerning the coming Messiah, about the place of his birth, but also the role of the Lord and who he is. Micah chapter 5, verse 2, but you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, this is where he will be born, though you are little among the thousands of Judah, yet shall come forth from you to me the one to be ruler in Israel. So number one, he's going to be born in Bethlehem. His occupation is to be the ruler in Israel. But look at this. Who is he? Whose goings forth are from of old, from everlasting. So eternal in origin, and yet born as a human child in Bethlehem, the Messiah, Jesus, he had to grow up. He had to learn just like any other boy would. That means that the living Word of God, who is eternal, had to learn, when he's born as a baby, he had to learn the Word of God to refuse evil, to choose good. But by the time he had reached what they call the age of accountability, I'm not saying that he sinned up until that time. I'm just saying until he was old enough to know what is right and wrong, he was fully trained and no sin was found in him. Messiah's humble origin, referenced as eating curds and honey, is in stark contrast to how the haughty leaders of Israel and Syria were forced into humility. Isaiah 7, verses 21 and 22. It shall be in that day that a man will keep alive a young cow and 2 sheep, so that it shall be from the abundance of the milk they give, and he shall eat curds, for curds and honey everyone will eat who is left in the land. So it serves as a lesson to us. You can either humble yourself before the Lord through Jesus, or you can be humbled by the Lord. And as we say in Memphis, be humble before you stumble. Get a checkup from the neck up so you don't get tore up from the floor up. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people like you. And yes, we need your monthly support in order to continue ministering. Donating is secure and it's easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. Another way to help is to just tell people about Groundworks Ministries. Share these podcasts with friends and family and on your social media. And of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.